This lesson is brought to you by the new Black Mountain slide. I got a small collection of slides that I really never use. The reason? None of them seem to fit just right. And that's the biggest problem with buying a slide. It's hard to find one that's a great fit. And even when you get the chance to try on a bunch in a music shop and you find one that you think fits really good, it might fit really well that day, but after a while, or maybe after a few dozen pizzas, what, just me? It doesn't fit the same anymore. The new full-size slide from Black Mountain solves this problem. Black Mountain makes this fantastic thumb pick, the slide ring, and now they've incorporated that same spring-loaded design into this new full-size metal slide. This slide has a cutaway for comfort and it adjusts to your finger for that perfect fit. They come in 3 sizes, small, regular, and extra large to help you get in the ballpark, but then that spring takes over and helps you dial in the perfect fit. I'm using the small on my pinky, but it works great on my ring finger as well. So grab your slide at the link in the description. Thanks to Black Mountain for sponsoring this lesson on one of my absolute favorite slide songs, I Can't Be Satisfied, by McKinley Morganfield, better known to most of us as Muddy Waters. I Can't Be Satisfied is tuned in open G, so we've got to bring our 6th string down if you're in standard tuning from E to D, and we bring the 5th string down to G from A. The 4th string stays the same at D. 3rd string stays the same at G. 2nd string stays the same at B. And then finally, your 1st string goes down a full step to D. Now, let's start diving into the tune. All right, that is the opening riff to this, and this repeats a couple times in the verse, and then it repeats a lot throughout the song. So we're going to spend some time unpacking this opening set of licks here. Let's find out where the notes are. We're going to slide up from the 10th to the 12th fret on the 1st string, and then up from the 10th to the 12th on the 2nd string, before going back to the 8th fret. And then we finish this riff just with sliding up from the 3rd, just a little slight slide, just pushing out over the fret. And that's happening on the 5th string. And then I'm plucking the open 4th and 3rd strings there. All right, let's talk a little bit about the picking, and then we're going to talk about the timing, which is really the thing that kind of makes it all kind of come together. So you'll notice when I'm playing this, I've got my thumb over the strings, string 6 all the way up through to the 2nd string. And my thumb's actually resting on top of the 2nd string. And I'm going to use my thumb to pluck the 2nd string notes, and then my index finger is going to rest on the 1st string, and I'm going to use my index finger to pluck the 1st string notes. And anytime I'm not playing a note, I'm going to kind of return to this sort of position, right? So it's kind of like allowing the note to be played, right? Notice how I'm kind of introducing a little bit of this momentary pause in between the notes that's happening here. So we're going to accomplish that by bringing that finger back to the respective string. All right, we let that one go. So we're going to move the thumb and just let it ring. Right? And of course here we have to shift positions down to the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. All right, but as I said, the timing here is important, and we actually are playing at a really fast tempo here, but the notes are kind of spread apart. They're really sparse, and so it doesn't feel quite as fast as it is. But we're going to count in pretty fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so if we slow that down, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so practice it slowly and then work yourself up to that quick tempo. And this whole line repeats, right, as we start off the intro and even under the verses. But then here we've got a cool little variation of it, right? Where we're just sliding up on that 2nd string, that same slide up from the 10th to the 12th. Twice before coming down to the G note here on the 8th fret, And then we switch into a little bit of a different lick. Let's hear it. So the count here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, so let's work on that. A couple of extra notes that we haven't covered so far here, and some really cool slide articulation happening. Now we know what's happening here. We're just repeating that slide right there, back to back, doubling up on the second string, coming into that 8th fret, but we let it hang. And then we sort of use that to then work ourselves down the neck and get us into this open 3rd string move. Now how we do that, after this one hangs, we come up and then sort of slide back down. Right? But where you stop, you don't want to stop with like the open string. You want to switch strings. And notice what I did here with my picking. I've switched and I've got my thumb on the 3rd string now because I want to keep it quiet, and I'm using my index finger to do the picking on the 2nd string. So right there is where I've made that switch. Now I'm going to pluck it. And so I can use that same picking technique to come down to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, slide up. This kind of sounds like a bend, you know, one of these bluesy microtonal bends. We're doing that with the slide. We're starting out on the note, just directly over the fret, and bending, if you will, just sliding in front of the fret slightly before playing that open 3rd string. So here's this slowly. All right, we've got a little more action happening in really the second half of this part that ultimately becomes the entire part that repeats itself throughout the arrangement. There's a lot of fun happening here. We're really going to start changing chords. We're going to go into the 4 chord. We're going to do a cool slide move up to the 5 chord. Make sure that you've practiced that opening set of moves and that you've got that really good, you got the timing solid. That's going to set you up nicely for the second half of this, which we're going to dive into right now. All right, this part we're working over the 4 chord really is going to bring us to the 5th fret area in general. Of course, we've got some other cool tones down here at the 3rd fret that come into play. But how are we putting all this together? Well, we start by sliding into our 5th fret 4th string, right? That puts us solidly in the 4 chord here. And how we get there is we slide up from about the 2nd fret to the 3rd, hit the open 4th, and then slide into the 5th fret on the 4th string. And that's happening from the 3rd fret up to the 5th. Now here's a key to this slide. We're not really hearing the 3rd fret, right? We're in motion, it's real fluid, and we're targeting this note here. Of course, when you get there, you can drip some vibrato on that thing to make it sound nice and bluesy. But the key is to not, elongate that slide or really pay much attention to the 3rd fret. That's just kind of generally where we're starting the slide. What we're focusing on is where we're going, right? I hope that helps you. It really starts to get into sort of the next level slide stuff there, where you're really focusing and articulating a note rather than sliding from. There's a difference between this slide and this one, even though they start generally around the same spot. All right, hope that tip helps you out here. Now let's get going. We finish this by sliding off, and then we've got a couple of sparse notes here. We go back to the 3rd fret on the 4th string, and we just hold it. Right? And kind of push a little bit. I like to do that anyway, where we kind of bend these notes, pushing. And what I mean by sparse, when I said they're sparse notes, is we're just playing right on the 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? There's a little bit of space in between those, right? We're not moving quite as quickly there. Now we're going to go up to the top 2 strings. So I'm going to pluck these together with my index and my middle finger. and we're going to slide in to the 3rd fret as we do it. But I want these to sound choppy, so we're going to bring back that technique of coming back and muting out just by putting the strings back, putting the fingers rather back on the string. All right, 2 of those, and then slide off on the 2nd string from the 3rd fret. Come back up to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string. Do this move we've done before. So this all fits really nicely. Then we're going to do this slide. Where we start the slide on the 5th. Watch my picking fingers here too. On the 5th fret, or sorry, 5th string. I did that same sort of toggling on and off muting here. It really helps to kind of tame some of the wildness and the extra string noises and things like that that happen when you're playing a slide. So I'm starting here, picking with my thumb, but when I get to my note on the G here on the 4th string, 5th fret, I'm back and I'm muting that 5th string. And really, as much as I can mute, I just want to hear that. And we're going to pluck that twice, right? And I think on the record, you might hear both the 4th and the 3rd string. That's totally fine if you want to pluck those 2 together. I like having that one note just kind of poke out before we head into the lick that gets us into the 5 chord. So this lick gets us up to the 7th fret, and that's when we really start to move into the 5 chord part of this progression. So what we're going to do to get there is a little move we've done before. We're just going to slide up from the 5th fret to the 7th fret here instead of to the 5th, right? Now, what we do here is really cool. We put a little bit of cool Muddy Waters mojo on this slide. So I'm going to start and then drag off. I want the slide down to be heard. You can change this up as you go through the repeats here. But I like a lot of vibrato on that note when I hit it. And then I want to come up and slide off. I want to hear that travel down. A little bit better than that. We got. All right. So then we're revisiting some notes that we've already hit, right? We come back down when the progression changes back to the 4 chord. We go to this 5th fret and do that move that we've done before. That's the 4th string on 3rd fret and then the 5th string on the 3rd fret. We're just kind of pushing those, right? Then we come back up and do a similar move to what we did around the 3rd fret on the top 2 strings, but here we're doing it on strings 3 and 2. I'm going to slide in 3 times and then pluck it 1 time solid. Like that. And then finally, to wrap this up, we're going to do a bend that we've done before. Call it a bend. We're really just sliding out slightly over the 3rd fret and then the open. That's all happening on the 5th string. And then finally, right? So we end this with another slide up, followed by these 2 open 4th string notes. Don't forget to check out Black Mountain Slide at the link in the description. And if you learned something from this lesson, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can check out more of these tutorials. And if you want to go even deeper and learn a whole bunch about blues, slide blues, finger picking, Delta blues, Piedmont blues, then consider joining my BGI at the link right over here. That's the premium membership for Blues Guitar Institute, and I hope to see you there. Until then, practice smart and play on.